Here we go.
Yes.
Are you feeling ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
100%.
I guess welcome to Inspired Alignment.
Yes.
The Inspired Alignment podcast. We're not sure exactly where this may take us, but Inspired Alignment. Inspired and alignment coming together. Do you want to introduce yourself just very briefly? Because some people might not know you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm Tenshy. I am originally from Venezuela, and I moved to this island about 2.5 years ago. I have a background in teaching, and I am starting to share a little bit more my spiritual side with other people, or people different than my family, feeling adventurous and sharing more of the person and the being that I am with this human being and everybody who's going to watch us and watching us.
Yes, and that said, there are probably a lot of you watching who have no idea who I am. You know this human, but you don't know who I am. So I'm Kia, and I am originally from Canada. Can't get away from this place. I have a couple of different backgrounds, but I don't feel any of them are necessarily worth mentioning. We are embarking together on a beautiful journey that there's like a really cool story to the beginning of, but we're not going to get into that today. We just took like another step in our crazy journey, and that's what we want to talk about because it is what's happening right now. So do you want to tell them where we are currently sitting?
We are currently in a house, which is a big thing to say. Both our families have been living in a trailer for the last 2.5 years. And it's been a wonderful experience and a wonderful adventure. We actually met while we were living in our trailers / RVs. And yeah, well, I guess the winter in Vancouver Island has made us somehow shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just a calling to that next step, I guess. Like winter's definitely a big component. We had some issues last winter, but
yeah, it could get really cold in a trailer, and I think the set of needs of our kids during winter time were not being fulfilled in the way that we wanted to get them fulfilled, and that's when the alignment actually, well, the alignment began way before those ways of fulfilling those needs. But that is a continuation kind of thing, part of our alignment and our get together.
Yeah, you mean, I was going to say, when you say part of the alignment, you mean the alignment between this family and this family.
Yes, and the inspired alignment that is this podcast about is a little bit of sharing with you guys what happens somehow when two human beings that are expressing their best version of themselves get together in not a couple's relationship way or manner, and decide to raise their kids together.
Yeah. So we have been sharing a space, her family and my family. She is a family of 4. I am a family of 4. And we have been sharing a living space in a different way since August of last year.
Yes.
So almost coming up onto a year. And in May of this year, I think it was, officially? Even April, maybe April, May, we decided that we wanted to find our own space to share, a space that we could call more ours and we could feel free to expand and do the things that we need to do. You will hear many children in the background. It just is fact. Like I said, 4. So there's 5 kids that belong to us, and then usually a couple extras kicking around. So we're just gonna roll with it. Yes, exactly. We always have spares. If anyone's in the market for children, I mean, we don't do that. We're gonna get flagged. Anyways, Yeah, April, May, I think we decided to look for a space to call our own so that we could really put some, what is it? Put the pedal, you're not going to know English being not the first language, the expressions have to come from me, but like put the tires, put the wheels on the ground, get some traction going with our ideas. And we have so many ideas. So I think that was what really kickstarted the search for a space where it was just their family and ours to share and sort of create what we wanted to create. So that said, we were looking and we could not find a space that seemed to be suitable for us. We both wanted to continue living in our trailers. We were both more than happy to do that. We just wanted an inside space that was larger to help in the wintertime when you're trying to entertain kids in like, I don't know, like a 4-foot by 2-foot floor space. It's a little challenging. So we started the journey of looking for a space, and we found a lot of interesting options. Some didn't work out, but some we didn't even really pursue properly, and we couldn't really figure out like, why are we not taking the step to find what we need?
Yeah.
Well, and we just kept.
I think it took a lot of, again, alignment in individually speaking, like putting together the vision that I have for me and my family, and for her, for you, to put your vision or the vision of what you wanted for your family as well. Number one, well, because the need was not only for entertaining the kids, it was entertaining and educating, because both families are being homeschooled, and we needed a space for them to be safe and feel safe from the weather, from the elements of the weather. But the vision, having a clear vision of what we wanted, and then come with that clear vision to each other and share what is in common. And most of the time was like a check. What do you want? I want this and this and that. And what do you want? I need this and this and this and that. And that is the alignment in ours, in individuals, selves, got together, and it is in alignment as well. However, it is an adventure on its own.
I was gonna say, it's one thing to do that like verbal, like, what do you want? What do I want? And be like, oh yeah, it's the same. It's all good. And then now we're in the reality of it. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, not that either one of our values or checklists have changed, but it's just so different to be like living it face to face in a house with walls and 8 humans, and it's like, yeah, we said we wanted all the same things, but how does it actually look like?
Yeah, well, to start with, the vision, the shared vision was to have a small house with maybe 2 rooms and 1 kitchen and 1 bathroom,
and laundry,
yes. And a kitchen. We wanted a fairly big kitchen,
yeah,
because we wanted to cook for the kids together and bake and just, celebrating life and making good, healthy meals. And that was the shared vision at the beginning. But then you have to get into an alignment with life as well. And sometimes the vision that we have, life decides that it has a better vision for you based on, again, what is actually the intention.
It's actually funny. Yeah. I'm just literally realizing right now, our intention, as she said, was essentially like a big room that the kids could play in, a kitchen, a bathroom, and laundry. And then we thought to ourselves, correct me if I'm wrong, but our idea was that that big shared room would be the kids' play space, have all the toys, puzzles, games, all the things, and then also would double as like our working space. And we like to host people and do in-person things. And I'm just thinking how funny that kind of would have been, because here we have like a separate room for each of those things in theory, and we're like still kind of struggling to like figure out how to make the kids' play space one area and like keep our other room for this kind of thing and for having people over separate. And can you imagine how it would have been if we had got our vision, which was just one giant room that was going to be full of toys?
That's why life is so generous and so beautiful and so It just can show you or has ways of showing you what you cannot see clearly. And actually manifesting this house is an adventure on its own, because this house was way more than we were actually asking for.
Yes.
The beginning, the checklist was 2 rooms, 1 kitchen, laundry, and 1 bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up manifesting
Like pretty much
everything in double.
Yes.
4 rooms, 2 bathrooms, laundry,
Yeah.
and a very, very big kitchen.
Yes.
So, yeah, for a while, in my way, in my experience, I was like, oh my God. Actually, at the beginning, we had to say, like, when we found this place, at the beginning, we didn't want to take it.
Absolutely not. She's the one who found this place. It's an interesting story. It's kind of a duplex. So we were looking at the other half of it, which was what we wanted. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, small space.
But no way to keep the trailers.
No way to keep the trailers. And she came to see that, and we were interested. And then that one disappeared very fast. And then she said, there's a second side to it. It's 4 bedrooms. It's this. And I was like,
yeah.
Why?
Well, the owner of the space saw us. It's like, okay, a family of 8. This unit is too small, but I have the unit next door, which is way bigger and it's going to be better and perfect for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I came to see it thinking that it was going to be for another friend who was actually in need of a place like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think at that time I actually considered renting such a big space. Our friend said, no, this is not what I am looking for. It's not exactly fulfills our needs. And Kia and I sat and it's like, oh my gosh, instead of saying we cannot do this, we started wondering, how can we? And if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that is a nice example of our balance, because I am very logical. It's the mathematical, scientifical side of my life and being. So she was like, we could have this for this. And I was like, we cannot. We cannot. Hard no. And then this beautiful fairy dreaming thing was like, but what if we could? And then, yes, brought her a question of how can we? And I was like, okay, this is a new way of thinking for me, but let's go with it. Yes. And let's see. And within a couple of minutes, we're like, well, we could do this, and we could do that, and we could do this, and we could do that.
Yeah, it was a very long list.
It was.
It was a very long list. After we asked the question out loud, how can we? And we sat with a minimum of attention because the kids were running around, and we had triple the amount of kids that day because our friends' kids were there too.
Spares.
Yeah, so with a little attention that we had, with 11 children, I think we had at the time, 11 children, we came up with a long list of the things on how could we do this. And I just phoned the guy at night. We came actually again.
I think we came to see it.
We came again because at that time she hasn't seen the place.
Yeah, I hadn't even seen it.
And I said, like, we need to go see the place again. You know, now thinking that the place would be for ourselves. And with shaking hands and
lots and lots of faith.
Yes, we signed the papers and we are now here. Well, you want to share what has been the process of being here?
I was going to say, when we came, it was a space that you could see the potential in, but it was not a space that was, how do I say, like ready for anyone. It needed much work, and I don't remember the dates. I wish I did, but I want to say we saw it, a week and a half to 2 weeks before the beginning of July.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yes.
And the landlord was like, I'll have it ready for you for July 1st and it'll be good to go. And I was like, there's no possible way that everything that needs done in this house is happening in like a week and a half.
It looked like an abandoned house.
It did.
Like it had furniture everywhere, cobwebs everywhere, dust everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The previous tenants in here destroyed the place.
Yeah, doors were off. The
No
floor,
closets.
no closets. Yeah, closets ripped out. It's just been quite the ride. And so actually that helped out even more though, because he had said July 1st, and I knew I was going to Alberta from the end of June until the middle of July. And I was very excited about the fact that for that time I wouldn't be paying rent to live anywhere because I had left the old place and didn't yet have a new place and was kind of back to my gypsy spirit. And so when he said July 1st, I was like, I don't have right now what I need to cover that. Can we see if he can do July 1st or July 15th or even August 1st? And that worked out beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out. It worked out beautifully. Is in he was open to making it July 15th, which eased a lot of my very initial stress because, like I said, I was happy to be paying no rent and to be looking at, instead of $0, the half of what we do pay here was like an unattainable leap. I could have played the how can I game, but I'd already done that and I didn't want to do it again so fast. So that worked out, and I got to come back from Alberta and know where I was going to be and not have to find a place to park the RV. But maybe you can talk about that 2-week period, because I feel like that was an incredible journey for you guys. I essentially, like, we signed papers and I was like, cool, I'm going to Alberta. You have fun. And I just left. I had to go deal with a whole bunch of stuff there. So I was sort of kind of out of commission. I just left Tenshy and her family to kind of deal with the whole organizing of them moving in.
Yeah, well, more than organizing for me was the emotional process.
Yeah.
And the anxiety that gave me unrooting my family from where we were at, which was a great space where I found safety to show up as I am authentically. And for me to take my family out of that space to the unknown again was very, it gave me a little bit of anxiety, to be honest. At the same time, not knowing what life is going to be like living with another family in the same house gave me, again, like, you want, or my mind wants answers, like, how are we going to do this, how are we going to do this? And that part of me that I know how to cultivate, and I know how to bring it forth in moments like that, was saying, open up to the unknown, and it's okay not to know. You don't need to know. Trying to let go of the controlling minds. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Plus, the idea that I have that Ivan, me, and the kids didn't have much to move was a fantasy. That was not a reality at all. Like, we had so much stuff.
We're talking like a travel trailer, and it's not a huge one. It's not a giant fifth wheel. It is a trailer with one slide, correct?
One slide, yeah.
That's it. So, not a lot of stuff in our minds. Jeez.
Well, the thing is that when you are in the move, you have to travel light.
Yes.
But for the last year and a half, for us, for me and my family, we stayed in one place and we started settling down, like spreading the roots. Oh, let's get this, whatever, you name it. And mostly natural stuff. Honestly, nature stuff has been our
buckets of sticks and rocks.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. And sticks and rocks are
pine cones.
Are an understatement, because we also have the big, humongous logs from when Ivan was working at the mill.
So envision, like, not quite an old growth, but like 2 feet across log that's been chopped into this wide of cookies. We call them cookies. Just a couple of those to transport as well.
Yeah.
And like planks, like 8-foot long planks. Well, so just small items.
Our kids are wild children and they want to be outside most of the time. And for me, the idea of bringing plastic into my house is a no. So it's always been natural stuff and things that we like to collect. We had a shelf for them to dispose everything that they collected that day: shells, pine cones, rocks, sticks.
Store.
Store.
She means like get out of the pocket so that hopefully it doesn't enter.
They are not coming into my trailer.
home, which doesn't always work, but it's the idea.
So yeah, we ended up taking 2 or 3 days to move stuff into a house that was not ready at all.
Yeah.
We could not move in immediately. We didn't have beds for the kids, mattresses, nothing. Well, we had a few pieces of furniture that the landlord gracefully left in the property, and he was okay with us using it. And we decided that we wanted a minimalistic space, like not crowded, not full of more stuff, until a load came from Edmonton.
Hey, I brought only necessary things. Multiple plates and like a whole bookshelf of books, but totally necessary things.
Yeah, the thing is that when you combine stuff minimalistic for you, minimalistic for me, and we combined them, we ended up with totes and totes and totes of toys for the kids.
Yeah.
Which is, again, makes you see the abundance in life. Like, we had more than we thought that we had.
And our pantry.
Oh, yes.
We combined our pantries, kind of like dry storage stuff, right? So like things that aren't going to go bad. And we just kept bringing. And I opened it and I said to her, I said, is this a grocery store? Yeah. Like, why do we have so much?
Yeah.
But it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
We just kept opening it and being like, look at all that we have.
Even the fridges, like,
oh yeah,
coming from a trailer, an RV with a small fridge, and taking what you consider a bare fridge. It's like it has nothing, because we didn't want to go for groceries before moving in, because we had to sort out somehow how we're gonna do this thing with the food, which we're still figuring out. But things that you will think, I have nothing in the fridge.
Yeah.
When we brought it in and you brought your stuff in, the fridge was full, like instantaneously.
Yeah.
And it opens up a different way of seeing, a different way of living life. It's like from scarcity to abundance. Even the vision, the previous vision that we had with the 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom and 1 kitchen was not scarce, but it was limited.
Yep.
And now having it double is like, oh my goodness, it was scary.
Yeah.
It's like being and witnessing the abundance in life sometimes can be scary as well. Everybody wants it, but is this too much? This could be more than we can handle. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And maybe for the viewers that are gonna be wondering, how are the kids doing? Like, how are we managing 5 children in 1 space? You want to talk about that?
And are we talking about how their like emotional and mental well-beings are right now, or
whatever comes to your mind?
It's been a ride, friends. I think I had this idea that we were gonna move in, and because we have so little stuff, it would take us like 2 days to put it in, organize it, and we'd be good to go. And then in reality, yes, we had more things than we expected, for sure, a lot more. Like, I literally had to buy a giant bag to go on the roof of my car to bring more things from Edmonton that I really felt like we needed. So we had a lot more things. But there was the other side of this. The house wasn't at a point that we considered ready. So, like, trim still needed to be done, or cleaning things still needed to be done. Simple things like covers for like the plugs and things on the walls needed to be done. Transitions for the flooring. Things that essentially prevent you from really moving in, because if you put a shelf in front of the plug that doesn't have a cover, it's never going to have a cover because then it's out of your mind. Lights on the ceiling that are not quite there. Big one being most of the closets still don't have organizational systems in them. So we could move ourselves and our stuff in and just like throw our clothes in a pile on the floor because there's not anything in there currently to organize them. And our clothes, obviously in the RV, kind of were in more built-in systems, so we can't really bring anything in. So we've been living in this hybrid of in the trailer still, wanting to be inside. I think the kids expected, probably because we didn't know how to prepare them, that we would move in, we would get them beds, we'd be inside right away. When the reality was we didn't sleep inside this house until we'd been here for 8 days, I believe. It was Monday.
Yeah.
So we lived on this property for 8 or 9 days. And that was the first night that we slept inside the building. And our trailers are still parked out the front because, like I said, our clothes are kind of still out there and we're still bringing things in. And the spaces that we wanted to set up just couldn't be set up in the way we wanted to. So the kids were living in this, like, we don't know where to go. We don't really know what space is ours. We don't know where our toys are. We don't really know where we're allowed to go outside. It is a shared property, so there's like certain parameters to where they can be. We also live on Vancouver Island, and we live in a very beautiful natural area where it's common to see bears. And one of the people that live on the property even said that they've seen cougars around this area. So, you know, you don't want to send your 4-year-old out to the far reaches of the big property without preparing them for the fact that maybe there will be a cougar, but at the same time not wanting to scare them. So they just didn't really know where to land. And I think compounded with the fact that neither one of us or Ivan knew where to land. Because through all of this, we're still working. We both work a little bit outside the house. We had other things were happening. I'm blanking on what necessarily they were. Oh yeah, she had to travel. So yeah, so I went to Alberta in the beginning part, and then she went to Alberta. Ivan's worked away a couple of times, so there's just kind of been orchestrating of, what do you call that stuff? Like housekeeping things, like travel, getting people to places.
Creating home.
Yeah.
Creating home.
So because we were so, like, as I say, we as the 3 adults in the house, were very dysregulated, I would say, trying to figure out how and where to do things, trying to figure out and manage what level of frustration we were at with the landlord for leaving the house the way that it was, while at the same time trying to maintain our shared outlook on life, which is like, the universe gives you what you give it. So if we're going to sit here in our pile of frustration, it's just going to keep coming. So we both, like, is this interesting triangle. One of us, one at a time, would be like, all right, let's forget about that one thing that's really annoying and let's focus on what we can do. And then we get to a certain point of what we could do, and then there'd be like another frustrating thing, and then that person who had been the motivator would fall, and then we kind of had to keep each other going.
Turns. We all get frustrated. Oh yeah. We all get to motivate, and we all get going and doing the things. But we don't get frustrated all at the same time.
No.
We don't get to motivate at the same time. We don't get to, we get to feel our feelings, but I think the 3 of us have a dynamic of holding a space for whatever we are feeling at the time, and it's okay. At the beginning, for me and Ivan, that's been the way of being. Is like, if you're down, I need to be up, and if I'm down, you need to be up, but both downs cannot happen. And I think it's somehow it's been the same thing. And again, alignment. I think that's why I am insisting so much on the word alignment. And I think when we were choosing a name for our thing, it was inspired alignment, because it's like, the way I see it, you have been in the making, like trying to reach on yourself by yourself, that better version of yourself. And the same for me and the same for Ivan. But when that happens individually and then you get together, it just flows. It flows. And it shows in things like this. Like, we feel our feelings, we feel everything that we need to feel, but we don't feel them all at the same time, individually speaking.
Yeah. And we feel them in such different ways. Like, each one of us and each one of the kids sort of emotes in their own way. And some of those are, I don't want to say harder to handle, but some of them are more in your face. And I think obviously, probably for you, and I will definitely speak for myself, some of the ways that they emote to me are like completely overwhelming, and I don't respond well to that particular display of emotion. Whereas, another child might come to me in a different way and I can totally handle that. So it's nice to have options. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's nice to, I think, not even have options. That's definitely part of it, but even to have just like a third opinion. What do you call it? Like when you go to a doctor and they're like, you don't really like that one, so you go and get a second opinion and a third opinion.
Maybe a different perspective.
Yeah.
Different perspective on the things, because of course the things that triggers you don't necessarily trigger me. So I approach the situation differently because I don't get triggered, or in the opposite way.
Yeah.
Like I get triggered and I have the tendency of reacting if something triggers me, but then the other person is there, is like, that's okay, I can handle this. And it's been a different kind of support too. It's not that I have been raising my kids by myself, because no, Ivan is always there. But when Ivan started working out of the house, for me it was like, oh my gosh, this is just me right now. And that's something that actually we can talk about that maybe another time, another opportunity, but something that we have been practicing for the last year and a half since we were in that other property, and how to allow other mom to mother your child, not in a motherly way, but in a guiding way. Allowing the triggered mom to release probably whatever feelings were coming through, and having your child guided with love and respect. And I don't know, it just opened that. I think that was the beginning actually of all this, like open the perspective, or bringing the perspective of, it takes a village to raise a child. It's like, oh my gosh, like I'm not being the best version of myself because I'm being triggered right now, and because it's my inner child reacting to this situation. I cannot be a mom, but maybe another mom can be the mom at that time while I am in the child mode, feeling my feelings at that time. And then with the mom, we can just talk, because we are not afraid of showing ourselves, our true authentic self. I am not afraid of being judged by being triggered and being that child. Is like, no, it's okay, because we all have our wounds inside. And I don't know, it just makes it so worth it for me. I think that's been my favorite thing since we have been doing this village living, community living, and truly living that, saying that it takes a village to raise a child, because we all have different set of gifts and talents and areas of our life where we shine, and others that don't shine much. But instead of focusing on the ones that we don't shine much, we focus on the ones that we are brilliant and that we can shine our light. And everybody is actually shining on our kids, and giving to our kids the best of ourselves.
Yeah. I was thinking about you were talking about triggers, and thinking about various. I was going to ask you, and trying to think also for myself through this whole process so far, but not from the finding of the house, but since we've moved in, because we moved in on July 15th, give or take.
17th. It was a new moon.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I wasn't back. That's right. I left Alberta on the 15th and didn't get back here till the 17th. Yeah. So I moved on the 17th, and it is the 30th. And so it's been, I don't know how many days that is, 2 weeks. In that 2 weeks, what would you say has been the biggest trigger? Like the biggest thing you've struggled with through this journey so far?
Well, I think my need of tidy places, like I am what some people will call neat freak person, slash clean freak. I like everything clean, everything organized, everything, but moving into chaos. This was not an empty space at all where I could create and beautify. It had to be declutter entirely. We had to take everything out of the space. So those have been moments where I'm like, that makes me feel anxious. Yeah. Like disorganized spaces and cluttered spaces, that makes me feel like I am not at peace. I cannot. I think honestly that it's my energetic field does not fit in the space when there is clutter. I cannot see my energy flowing properly. So that for me, I don't know if it's a trigger or not, but it's something that definitely makes me feel yucky, itchy, like charged. Yeah. Because I came with a mindset of not knowing, because I haven't been into this situation before, into this experience of living with another being who I was not raised with. Like, you're not my blood person, culturally speaking. Like, oh my gosh, I think that was one of the first things, like, oh my gosh, like, yes, so I live in Canada and I've been here for 20 years, but at the same time I am Venezuelan, and I can blend and I can adapt to Canadian society very well, but at the same time, at home, I am Venezuelan. I eat my arepas and I eat, my food the way I cook differently. But now with you, it's like, I actually mentioned it to you, like, I cannot get to Venezuelan here, and you say like, oh no, please just bring it in. Like, I'm waiting, and I'm like, okay, thank you. So yeah, maybe because I didn't come with a set of expectations, but knowing that I don't know, and I see it as an adventure. I don't need to know. I want to find out. Every day is an opportunity for me to wonder, what am I going to be learning, and how am I going to be expanding today? What am I going to be adding into my life from your ways of being, your ways of living, your ways of organizing, your ways of setting up, like, your lifestyle? What can I add into my life? Because since the beginning, the idea, the intention has been co-creating. So we always remind each other, it's like, this is a co-creation. I bring with the best in me, you bring the best in you, and it's not your way, it's not my way, it's our way, and we create something new. We create something that hasn't been created, because there is no another Tenshy and there is not another Kia. So what's going to happen in here, it's actually the reason why we are documenting all this, because we don't know. Yeah. How about you?
I didn't know what I didn't know about this whole experience. When I left with my family in an RV in 2021, I think I really felt like I was making that choice very consciously. And I was, on a level. Like, in that moment, I definitely was. But in hindsight, I think I realized, like, I was doing it because it was almost necessary. Like, I was so stagnant and so not okay where I was that it felt like the only choice was to go and do that. So it wasn't so much like I had a whole bunch of options laid out in front of me. I considered them all and I consciously chose to do that one. It kind of felt like the only choice, and so I did it. And I loved every minute of it. Well, let's not say every minute. Let's not get crazy. But I loved the experience. And now, moving into this, it felt more like an actual conscious choice. Like, I had many options in front of me. I could have stayed in the RV. I have a house in Edmonton that I could have gone back to at any point. I had this option in front of me. I had a couple other things, and this finally felt like a conscious choice, and I was feeling good about it. And then to come here and be faced with the fact that it wasn't ready, I had so much of my father in my mind, looking at everything that wasn't as it should be, and the Western upbringing in me being like, well, if it's not as it should be, then you deserve compensation. And if you're not going to get compensation, then, like, this is not okay. So I had that battling with my true self, I believe that feels more like the compensation isn't necessary as long as like the shared vision and there's alignment in where we're heading, and things like let the universe sort of balance things in the journey. But I was so brought up to be, balance the scales now. Like if they're not balanced, it's your job to balance them. Take it on yourself, figure it out. Mm-hmm. And so I was going back and forth between these two mindsets. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. I know this. This is how I was raised. And then the next moment I'd be like, okay, but that doesn't feel good for me. That stresses me out. That takes me to a level that is not fun. Let me go back to where I feel good and in alignment, which is this is going to settle. The universe is going to find its karma and it's going to be okay. And then I'd sit there for a little while, but then something would come up in the house and I'd go right back to my programming, which is like compensation, find the balance, force it, figure it out. And I just kept going on this merry-go-round, and I was like, I can't keep up like this. And then my knee-jerk reaction, which has been a story of my life, is like the runaway and the escapism. And I was like, I can't do this. I jumped too soon. I don't know what it is. Like, I thought this was a conscious choice, but like, this is too much. And I wanted to leave because I'm good at leaving. So what I like to do, I leave and I feel good about it. And then we just carry on. So coming to head with like that massive pattern in my life, that is like you I don't even think I really was aware that I always wanted to leave until probably the last 2-3 months. And I've been diving more into like what that is. And so that really got thrown in my face through this whole process, which I did not expect. And I think it revealed to me that I have I don't know what to call it, a disappointment in the fact that like I spend a lot of time with this beautiful human being who is so in touch with her like inner voice and what, I don't know, I think she just is very much able to connect with the divine and the universe and know like she has a confidence about how this is going to go. And I have battled for a long time being like, how come I never like have a gut feeling or like some sort of knowing of what to do? I go on that merry-go-round always where I'm like, I feel this way, I feel that way, I feel this way, and it's just it's too much. So that has been the most giant thing. There's a lot, but that's like the number one peak thing that has been happening in my experience over the last 2 weeks, I think. And it's been a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think you will notice and hopefully follow us in this journey of self-discovery too.
Yes.
It's like, who am I when I am in the same place and sharing the space? And how can I shed all the old beliefs that you have to have your own house and you have to have it your way and it's for you and your family only. It's like we are somehow shedding the layers of who we think we are to find out who we truly are.
Yeah.
So we are not yet in touch with that inner core of who we are. Mm-hmm. Because even though have been in this journey for a long time, I'm no way older than her, but I am older than her. I still find parts of me that I question how much longer or what is the true need of carrying this layer with me and questioning if I want this aspect of me to remain with me because I feel that makes me a better version of myself, or if this is a time to let that part of myself go because it's actually getting me farther apart from that authentic image or that authentic self or that better version of myself. So I think we're gonna leave it till here today, because this is a journey. This is a whole journey, and we are excited and scared.
I'm not scared.
No,
she gets nervous.
I get nervous.
I don't get the nerves, or maybe I do. I'd have to sit and write about it to be able to identify that as nervous.
Yeah, but yeah, the intention is to share this journey with our viewers, the more you comment, the more questions you ask in like below the video, the better for us. Because we sat in here and inspired alignment is like, okay, let's get in inspired alignment, which is the way I see it, is a state of the being. Let's just be in inspired alignment. Let's just let whatever needs to come and have said come through us. But definitely your questions and your comments and your perspectives and your ideas, and yeah, that will enrich this whole journey for us too.
Yeah, or even just saying hi, and wherever you may be in this beautiful world.
Yeah,
be interesting to see.
Yeah, well, and this is us saying see you next time.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Yes.
Yeah, and as everybody says, like the video, subscribe to our channel, follow us on YouTube,
hit a bell
and
or something.
Instagram.
There's a bell.
There's a bell, so yeah, you can get notified when we have the videos. We don't know to this point how often we're going to be sharing videos, but we definitely have the intention to do it very often. Yeah, because this is a beautiful journey. Yeah, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.